Welcome to Bleep Bulimia podcast with Dr. Denise Revel, the Own Your Amazing coach, thought leader, author, and speaker.
Hi, everyone. I am Lori Ann. I'm the host of Bleep Bulimia. And today I'm so pleased to have Dr. Denise Revel, and she is the Own Your Amazing coach. She's also a thought leader, author, and speaker. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I noticed that, on social media, you're everywhere. It's wonderful. You've done wonderful things for people. So let's start off with, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you were motivated to get into what you're doing today.
Okay, so here's the story. So by trade, I am a speech language pathologist. I have a private practice. I've been doing that for over 25 years now. But with that, but I have been on my own journey of self-discovery and trying to figure out, what is my life really all about? Am I really living on purpose? So I had been on this journey, just again, self-discovery. And about 6 years ago, I went to a women's retreat. And so the story is, I went out to dinner the night before the retreat started with one of the attendees. And we were just talking and getting to know one another. So the next day for the retreat, the coach allowed everyone to come to the front of the room to be coached and poured into, right? So I'm waiting for my turn to go to the front of the room. And as everyone else is going up there, they're like crying, very emotional, boo-hoo. And I was sitting there like, why are people crying? What is that about? So then it's my turn. And so as soon as I sit down in the chair, I start crying.
Oh my.
I'm boo-hooing. I'm a mess. I'm a wreck, right? And the facilitator, the coach, she was like, oh my God, Dr. Denise, what is going on? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I have these levels of success. I said, but I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. I just don't know what's going on with me, right? And so the attendee who I had gone out to dinner the night before raised her hand. And she said, I know what's wrong with you. And I'm thinking, like, we just met. You don't really know me. How are you going to tell me what's going on with me? I was thinking that, but I didn't say that out loud, right? So I just looked at her and I said, well, what is it? What's going on with me? She said, you're smart, you're brilliant, you're talented. She said, you're all these things. She said, but you don't own it. She said, you need to own your amazing and stop playing small. I was like, oh my God, that's it. I said that. I was like, how do you know me so well? But really, that's how I was feeling. I felt like there was so much more for me to do. I felt like I was allowing fear and my insecurities, all these things to really stop me from playing really big in my own life. And so she really helped to language what I had been feeling. And so that is how the Own Your Amazing movement started, is that I have been on this journey of like really trying to live full out. And here this person was just saw me like, you're not doing that. You're not really owning who you are. You're still hiding. You're still feeling like you're not worthy. You're not deserving of all the things that you really want out of life. And so once I left that retreat, I was like, I'm on a mission to get everybody to really own who they are. The good, the bad, the ugly, the whatever. At the end of the day, we are still amazing and we need to own that. So that is the story of how the movement got started. And I have been just, for the last 5 years now, just really trying to motivate, inspire, energize, ignite in people like, you really need to own who you are. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. But who you are is this amazing being. So own it.
And I would say that in, like you said, the good and the bad. I mean, for the longest time, and there's a lot of people out there in this bulimia world that we're talking about, where the shamefulness and the hiddenness and the fear, exactly that, and then the lies that go against your values. So you're not really owning it. Now, granted, I came out after I recovered. And even then it was scary to say, hey, yeah, you know what, I was bulimic. And I found out a lot of these wonderful ladies that I've interviewed feel the same way. I don't want people to know I'm recovered for 10 years or 20 years, but I don't want them to know I was there. When they started coming out and talking about it, it sounds like what you're doing with people, then people relate. And then they go, you know what? Thank you for giving me that. Well, I don't give them the courage, but the incentive to have the courage to do that. So I would imagine that that's what you do with these people who, because even your shame can be, that you think is a shame, can be a positive.
You know, I tell people all the time, it takes courage to really be who you are.
It does.
It takes courage to be who you really are, because we have so many messages about who we are. It's not good enough. It's not pretty enough. It's not smart enough. And it takes a lot of courage and strength to say, no, this is who I am. This is who I am. You know, my faults, my frailties, my strengths, my weaknesses, my quirkiness, my weirdness, all of that. This is who I am. And I'm going to own every part of me, however that looks, right? And so it takes courage, it takes strength to do that. And so a lot of times in my world, I'm just telling people, like, give yourself permission just to be you. It takes you giving yourself permission to stand in your own power. And so I'm just there to kind of cheer them along, encourage them. But ultimately, it's, you know, own your amazing. You have to own your amazing, and I have to own mine. I can't own it for you, and you can't own it for me. It's like, own you. I'm saying you own your amazing, and I'm going to own my amazing, and we're going to just go out and just shine in the world. And so, but a lot of people carry a lot of shame and guilt, a lot of embarrassment about things we've done, think do so good, or whatever it may be. And so I'm telling people to own it. Own your past, own your struggles, own all of it, because that's part of it's part of who you are, and it's part of your story. And so I know for me, a lot of women that I coach I said, we look good on paper.
Yes.
Very, very successful looking.
I like that, successful looking.
So, you know, we have it, right? We have all the degrees. You have the corner offices. Yep. We have the nice cars and houses and clothes. We look good on the outside, but on the inside, we're struggling. We are fearful. We are, you know, we have a lot of self-doubt, right? But we're afraid to tell people that.
Now, can I ask?
People to know.
Right. And I was going to say, we don't want people to know, but isn't that because as amazing as you are, you don't feel that it is, and you're afraid people won't like you? Well, not everyone's going to like you, but the ones that do, for being you, are the ones you want in your life, right? And the ones that leave you because they go, oh my gosh, I didn't think you were like that. I don't like this. Let them go, right?
Exactly. I used to be such a people pleaser. I wanted people to like me because I didn't like myself.
Thank you. And that's the big thing about the people who struggle with bulimia. They're such people pleasers. It's one of the number ones. And you're pointing that right out.
You know, I'm an emotional eater for many years. And so it was like, I wanted people to like me. I wanted people to validate me. I wanted people to say I was okay. But I wasn't willing to say that to myself first. I was looking for it outside of me. And so when I didn't get it, I was like, oh my God, let me try harder. Let me go get another degree.
Right? Achieve. And that's your worth is your achievements, right? And who you are, your achievements. But oh my gosh, there's so much behind that person that's achieved. I mean, it's wonderful to do it.
Or even say, oh, let me look a certain way.
Yes.
Let me look a certain way. Let me get to a certain size. Let me wear this. Let me do all these external things so people can like me, so that I can be okay with me. But now I'm telling people, no, you have to like yourself first. You have to love yourself regardless of anyone else, you know, don't cheer you on. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. I am now my biggest cheerleader. I laugh at my own jokes. I crack myself up. All of that. But it's been a journey of, like, again, I call it self-discovery, personal empowerment. You know, it's your own thing. You standing in your own power. And then other people around you, whether they stand with you or not, it doesn't really matter. It's not the thing that moves you. You move yourself. I had one of my coaches say, she said, if you don't cry and weep over your own amazingness, she said, something is wrong. She said, we are individual, we are phenomenals. You know, we are this thing, right? So one of the things I have when I do my workshop is I tell people about, I live in the Washington, D.C. area where there's all these museums. And years ago, they had an exhibit of the Hope Diamond, right? So I was like, I got to go see this Hope Diamond. I heard so many amazing stuff. I got to go see it, right? So you have hundreds of people in this, museum, this place looking at this diamond in this case. It's like, oh my, oohing and ahhing, right? And I tell people, we are just as beautiful, precious as this red diamond, because there's no one like you and there's no one like me. We're it. And so when I tell people, I said, we're going to pretend like you are on display in the museum. And I want everybody, so everybody to look at this person, like, look at her eyes, look at her hair, look at her smile. And everybody's like, ooh, ah, oh, it's like, oh my God. And so you wouldn't believe how people just felt so good when they recognized, like, I'm it. I am special. I am that Hope Diamond. I'm that one of a kind. Mm-hmm. And so when we relish in that, when we own that and celebrate who we are, life is so much better. I mean, I'm just having a good time now because I'm better with me.
Yes.
It's not even about getting external validation, getting people to come along in this journey. I invite people to come, but whether or not, I found my own happiness, I found my purpose, I found my passion, and I try to live in that every day.
I have a fun story for you. I know that I'm interviewing you, but this is kind of fun because it goes along with it. My father yesterday, I did some really strange art, and I love it. And I love dressing weird sometimes, and people go, well, what are you wearing? And I was, when you get into the corporate world, whatever, you're defined as how you have to dress and so on. I didn't get jobs when I was younger just because I made my own clothes and they were different. And then I had to go into the suit. If you want the job, you got to do it. You somehow have to do that. But I wasn't happy with myself. But anyway, I made this art piece. I go upstairs and I show my mom, there's a bunch of drafts on this like box. And I said, I know it's weird, but I love it. And I'm living with my parents right now. They're elderly, but we have a great time together.
Yeah.
And my dad, as I'm walking downstairs to the apartment, I can hear him say, she's such a kid. And I'm 59. I went running back upstairs and said, yes. And when I was married, my ex-husband said, I asked him, why do you treat me like a kid? He said, because you are one. Now, adult-wise, I paid the bills, took care of the kids, changed their diapers, did all that. And I thought, you don't see that adult side of me. Today, my response would be, damn right I am. For those moments that I'm allowed to be a kid when I'm not a mom and I'm not a worker and I'm not, forced to wear, certain clothes I'm going to be that kid. And that's what I would answer today. But I took offense to it then, right? Mm-hmm. Because I wasn't owning myself, like you said. I wasn't holding on to that amazing me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love what you're saying.
And what's interesting in my private practice for speech therapy, I work primarily with young children. Okay. And I love it because every day we play. Yeah. Their creativity. It reminds me to stay in tune with that childlikeness in my own life. Even as an adult, I think we lose that childlikeness. We lose our creativity. Mm-hmm. We lose our thinking we're superheroes, We lose that. But when I work with those children, they remind me every day of, don't forget that part of you, the excitement and the silliness, some of my clients' parents have said, wow, it sounds like you're having a good time in there with. And I'm like, I am. I'm in there acting silly. I'm in coloring, but I'm really engaged and I'm present with them because it helps me. It's very therapeutic for me to engage and play in that creativity. I love when I give them something to color. I give them a bag of crayons and they're taking color the whole thing blue. And I was like, well, why did you color the whole picture blue? Because I wanted to. And I'm like, yes, good. Instead of saying, no, you're supposed to color this. No, I let them be and to express themselves. And so I just want more people, more adults to really tap into who they are, that creativity, that childlike spirit, and just really, because most kids, I say, until adults get their hands on them, they relish in who they are. Yeah. They dress how they want to dress, they talk, they're fun, they're silly, they're all of this wonderfulness. But along the way, we lose that.
Well, because we're told that you can't do that anymore. Oh my goodness, exactly. You're acting silly, you're weird, you're goofy. And some people hold on to it. Some of my friends, they're still that way. And I'm thinking, wow, I really appreciate that. Life didn't change you. Thank God. But there's a lot of people, unfortunately, like you said, the adults get to them. The whole culture, the whole world will do that. And then they become who they really never were. And that's confining. So then your beautiful, red diamond is in that box.
Yes. Yes. And not really being seen either, for its brilliance. Yeah. It's not really shining the way it can really shine.
Yeah.
So I encourage people, just show up who you are, however you are. We are multi-dimensional, we're multifaceted. We're not one-trick ponies. There are different levels and dimensions to ourselves if we allow ourselves to express that, right? And so, yes, I like doing speech therapy with kids, but I also like doing personal development and helping people to tell their stories and helping them write their books. And I like coaching women in their business. I like doing all of that. And at one point, I thought I had to deny those parts of me, but I'm passionate about all of those things because it falls for me under this whole self-expression, showing up how you want to show up in the world and you being okay with that.
Love it. And speaking of books, you helping people with books. Can you please tell us about yours?
Absolutely. I have a copy right here.
Yay. She's holding it up for people who are listening, and we are going to have all the information about it. So give us a name. Tell us about what inspired you to write.
Absolutely. So the name of the book is Own Your Amazing. Discover your power to create an amazing life you love. I think a lot of times we are living lives we tolerate, we put up with, but it's not one that you wake up excited about every day. So I'm encouraging people, create the life you really, really love and that you want, right? So the story behind the book is I started the Own Your Amazing movement, and my business coach was like, hey, you need to write a book. And I was like, no, I'm not writing a book. I'm not a writer. That's not my thing. I talk, I don't write. But here's what she didn't realize. When I was in high school, my high school English teacher, 12th grade year, he pulled me aside and said I was one of the worst writers he had ever had.
Oh my.
Yeah. And I was like, he's been teaching a long time. I was like, I'm one of the worst. Oh my goodness. But I had gone through grade school, high school, doing well and get to this person. And it really bothered my confidence. Writing had been a struggle for me. It takes me a little longer to write and get my thoughts out on paper. But for him to say that, it just really undermined all the little confidence that I had. It really did. So fast forward, I go on to college and all those kind of things. And so it came time to write a book. And I was like, no, I can't do that. That's not, I'm not a good writer.
That was going back in your head again, what the guy said. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I was still holding on to that years later.
Nuts.
And it was the fear, like, oh my God, what if somebody reads this? What are they going to say? All of that. And my teacher said, I'm not a good writer. I can't do it. And so my coach said to me, she said, you are all about serving people, helping people. I was like, yeah. She said, but what if you could write a book that can help someone by telling your story? What if that can help somebody? And I was like, oh, she got me in the heart. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so I remember going through the process of writing the book, and we had got to the end of it where it was time to be published. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't put it out there. I struggled with it for about a week. And I was like, I can't put it out there. And then finally I was like, okay, if the book can help at least one person, then it will be worth it. If at least one person can say they got something out of my story, that it helped them on their journey, then it'd be worth it. And so that's why I published it. That's why I put it out there, because I was like, okay, maybe something I can say in the book can help someone, again, on their journey to really own who they are. And I'm happy to say that when I published the book, it was in 2018, that my book was nominated for an award. I was a finalist for an award for my book. And I was like, oh my goodness. And so it was for the category of self-help, but it was for people who wanted to write a book that was going to leave a lasting impact and legacy. And they recognized my book for that. Yeah. And I was like, thank you. And I was like, I was looking for my high school English teacher.
Here's a copy. Let me say, you're not the first to say these stories, which I feel so bad about.
Yeah.
That high school English teachers would say something like that. I had a college professor. I wrote a little silly book on Hampy, and he's published now. And I sketched him, and he said, you have to publish that book. It took me 30 years to publish it, so I get what you're saying.
Wow.
But even if it's one page, one chapter that somebody reads and it makes a difference, it does. But he was so incredibly encouraging for me that, and it took me that long anyway, that when I wrote the book, I sent him a copy saying thank you instead.
Right.
Not, here you go. But I just feel back for that. I find that that's, and I know as time goes on, you have less and less of those teachers saying that because, with, time goes on, I think teachers have to watch what they say now more, as far as encouragement and so on and so forth. But I know in my time, I mean, if there was a teacher that, wanted to say, when I was in grade 3, I couldn't read, you can't read. And it was just devastating how they treated you because you didn't know how to read. It was like, instead of saying, let me help you. Right?
Exactly. Wow.
So good for you though for doing that. I'm congratulations, and congratulations on that award. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I would imagine is that available then on Amazon and in bookstores? And
yeah, it is available on Amazon. But I also let people know they can visit my website and request a copy, and I'll send them an autographed copy of the book. So from Amazon, I can't autograph it, of course, but if they order it for me, I like to put a little message in there. And a lot of people do that. They were like, I want you to write me a mail. I was like, absolutely. So they can go to the website to order an autographed copy of the book, or they can find it on Amazon.
And that's, honest to goodness, I had to downsize, and I hate getting rid of books. I had like tons of them, but the ones that I was definitely not going to get rid of were the signed ones. There's something special about those.
Yes, exactly.
Is it more value, even if it's just personal value? It just,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. The books that I have, they have been signed. Yeah. Then I think about it, because I had to purge a lot of books too.
It's so hard. Somebody said, well, I mean, because I have to make space, and they said you can always get it again. I don't know, like the first book that you buy, like that first copy that you buy, even if it's not signed, when you buy the second one, it doesn't have that same feeling.
Right, you're right. And so I had to, years ago, I had to, get them on Kindle or e-reader, because I was having too many in my physical space. But now that I think about it, the ones that I've kept have been the ones that have been signed by the person, the author for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So I also have, I guess, another question. You have your programs, you're a coach. So in your coaching process, do you have programs that people can sign up for, or are you one-on-one? How does that work for you?
I have a combination of both. In the past, I did like workshops where people can come to the workshops, and then I would do one-on-one coaching. And so last year I did a couple of group coaching programs. So looking to try to decide now what I'm doing for 2022, yeah. So right now I am going to be doing some challenges. I'm starting a Facebook group, so people can be a part of that to learn more about some of the upcoming things I'm doing for 2022. I have a long list of things I want to do, so we'll see what gets done this year. But I love group coaching. I love one-on-one. Right now I'm working with a book client. I'm helping a person write their first book, and so I'm definitely excited about that. Hopefully we'll be launching it in the spring. So I'm also just passionate about other people getting their stories out, and if I can be a catalyst for that, I'm all for that as well.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate this. Like we were talking about, the self-worth, the loving yourself, the coming out, and you're amazing, and in all of your grandeur, you're good, you're bad, but the biggest thing is not to be shameful for it. If you can coach people to do that. I always have this, we're on Bleep Bulimia. I have, people listening who are struggling with bulimia. You don't have to start off with a bulimia recovery coach. You could start with a coach that can find, the roots as to like, how can we eliminate something that might be moving you towards your food, or that thing that you feel is because you're not deserving. Generally, that's what it comes down to. And you have such a positive attitude. So for someone who wants to reach out to you, where would they go to reach out to you?
Yes. I always tell people to start with the website, ownyouramazingnnow.com. They can read a little bit more about me, see some of the things I've done, and I got some podcast interviews on there. But I always say reach out to me at ownyouramazingnnow.com. That's a contact button. You can always email me and connect, And so I'm looking for people who are looking to do it differently this time. We struggled enough with not loving ourselves, not feeling good about who we are. And it's time for us to stop that because we're so deserving. And so I just really want people to own who they are. So go to the website, ownyouramazingnnow.com, or even follow me on social media. Facebook, I'm there every week giving like a little message here and there, just to really inspire, to encourage people to own who they are and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Who you are is perfectly imperfect.
Exactly. And so you were saying on your Facebook page, because I was interested in that, so I think that it's worthwhile. You said that you were doing challenges.
Oh yeah.
That's always fun. So, and do you have like a group that people that's on your website? Is there a link to the Facebook to a group, or is it your personal page? I mean, not that it matters. I just want to know if they can connect with Facebook through your website, or is there a better way?
They can connect to Facebook through my website, but the best way is I do have a self-love challenge coming up, right? And so that's the best way right now for people to get into the group, to get the lessons. But they can come in anytime. The lesson is going to be there. But I'm doing the Facebook. This is my first time doing a Facebook group, and I've always kind of been like, people encourage me to do it, but I'm like, well, what's the point? Why? And so I realized, like, I really now in my life want to serve, and I want to build a community of people who are really ready and committed to doing it differently for themselves. It's not for me, it's not for your family, it's for you. And so so the group is going to be more intimate. It's going to be more people who are really ready to do it differently. I'm inviting people to come in only if you're ready, not just to come in and kind of see what's going on. Like, no, because I want to encourage, but I also want to challenge us to look at ourselves in a different way. Whatever things that are holding us back, let's deal with it. If there is shame, if there is guilt, let's deal with it and heal it and get past it so that we can create these amazing lives that we want and we deserve. And I know we can have it if we're willing to do the work.
Absolutely. Thanks again so much, Dr. Denise, for being with us today. Really appreciate it. And again, people, make sure that you check out the website. We're going to have it in our notes. And again, thanks so much. I love your positive approach to everything and really appreciate you being here today.
And I so thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit me at bleepbulimia.com.